Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this exciting and prestigious event. My name is Peace Hyde, and I am the West African correspondent and head of digital media and partnerships for Forbes Africa. I'm extremely honored to be part of this very timely and impactful event that is bringing together some of Africa's most prominent women leaders on their journey to the top to offer thought-provoking mentorship to our audience this evening. Women Who Lead is designed to guide upcoming female entrepreneurs and working professionals in successfully maneuvering their careers. Organized by Emerging Africa Capacity Building in celebration of the 55th birthday of Mrs. Toyin Sanni, a woman who I personally looked up to as a mentor and whose advice has over the years guided me in my own career. This timely and exciting event is sponsored by Emerging Africa Capacity Group of Companies, Women in Finance Nigeria, and WIFNG UK. Now, whether you're a CEO, entrepreneur, executive, or professional in the successful pursuit of your business career objectives, Women Who Lead is designed to equip with you a valuable resource of information from women who have broken several boundaries in their respective fields. Now, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You have access to this remarkable group of game changers. So please feel free to use the Q&A icon on the information bar at the bottom of your screen and submit any questions to our speakers you would like. Now, tonight we have over 3,466 participants and counting, representing over 20 countries. And these are including but not limited to Nigeria, Morocco, Canada, India, Spain, France, Australia, Kenya, Lebanon, UAE, Russia, Ghana, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Uganda, Netherlands, Kenya, Israel, UK, Turkey, Switzerland, and South Africa. So this is truly a global event. So please take advantage of this opportunity to connect via the general chat facility and engage with your colleagues, share thoughts, ideas, and any questions that you may have. Now, tonight's virtual event will be split into two segments. The first segment will be a webinar, and the second segment will be the birthday celebration of the remarkable Mrs. F. Toyin Sanni. So, here to kick off the first segment and also introduce these powerful, phenomenal women who have graciously given their time to empower us this evening is another exceptional woman whose career is a dream of mine. She is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize for International Reporting, a former West African bureau chief of the New York Times, Dionne Searcey.
Thank you so much, Peace. I'm Dionne Searcey. I'm a reporter with the New York Times, and I'm based in New York now, working on stories about America's political divide. But until last year, I was the West Africa bureau chief for the New York Times. And that's where I met Toyin and was so impressed by her leadership that I included her in a book I wrote about amazing West African women called In Pursuit of Disobedient Women. The women we have today have all climbed to impressive heights in their careers, but as we all know, it wasn't without a struggle. We are living in a man's world, and that is especially true in the world of business and finance. Men make the decisions in our families, in governments, and on corporate boards. But somehow, these women with us today found a way to get a seat at the table. We're going to hear from them about how they did it. We have with us today an impressive set of women. Dr. Ibuku Awosika, the chairman of First Bank of Nigeria, Lamia Merzouki, the deputy general manager of Casablanca Finance City in Morocco, Miss Arunma Ote, academic scholar at the University of Oxford, Chief Mrs. Onakepo Akande, the chairman of Emerging Africa Capital Group, and of course, Mrs. Toyin Sanni, Group CEO of Emerging Africa and our celebrant. Happy birthday, Toyin. So I would like to start tonight by giving each of you panelists a chance to describe your journey to the top in your own words. And specifically, I want to ask you, and we'll start with Dr. Awosika, How would you say you have evolved as a woman professional in your journey?
Thank you very much, and happy birthday to Toyin again. And I would most respectfully like to greet our forerunners, Chief Mrs. Nikki Akande, who she in particular and a number of women in her generation made it easier for the rest of us to emerge in our journey. And it would just be totally unacceptable not to acknowledge the courage they had and the work they did that gave us the courage to step forward and be ourselves. I think it starts from the journey of being a girl and the kind of parents that I had. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge my father in an environment where a lot of focus was put on the male child, and the girls were allowed to settle for many things in many ways. My father had mainly girls. We had three boys, one died, leaving two. And but one thing we grew up with was my dad was very proud of his girls. And somehow I think he forgot to tell us that as girls, there were certain things that we couldn't do. So we did grow up knowing and believing that we could do anything that we wanted to do. And we got the kind of encouragement and support that allowed you to express yourself. And then going to maybe schools that also sort of enforced and reaffirmed your ability to express yourself as a woman in every form. And then that liberty of expression, I think in many ways shaped a big part of my journey. And it's also about the kind of decisions we take along the way. And this is really for the younger girls, is to look at the kind of options that you choose in terms of how you spend your time along the path of your journey. You need to be a little more deliberate about what is relevant, what is useful, what is adding value to your journey. I remember that I spent most of my university years as a member of the Junior Chambers International, becoming the president at a very young age and traveling around the world, attending the global conferences of the Junior Chambers International, seeing a lot of young, amazing people do amazing things, because it was an organization for people between ages of 18 to 40, and just sort of drawing a lot of inspiration from their greatness and their own journey, to reaffirm to myself always that I could be anything I wanted to do, to be, and to do anything I wanted to do. And having the courage to not settle, let's put it that way, and facing the challenges along the path as well, because university was not a breeze for me for whatever reason. Secondary school was a breeze. I was a great student, got good grades, got outstanding award for the year, but somehow university studying chemistry was a challenge. So life will throw us a lot of lemons. You know, we're just going to have to decide what we make out of them and the kind of people that that walk with you in your journey. And then when I finished my university, I thought I was sure I wanted to become a chartered accountant, work in a bank. And after spending a year in an accounting firm, I realized definitely was not what I wanted. So I left. I didn't bother wasting time trying to just settle with it for the time being. And I accidentally got into the furniture manufacturing industry, just an accident of life, and applied myself the best I knew. You know, I have a simple rule: whatever your hands finds to do, do it well, because I'm a firm believer of the fact that you're leaving a trail of your journey with people as you journey along. And so be conscious about what kind of trail you're leaving, because it will impact your future one way or the other. I believe that every person you meet at one point can sometimes be waiting for you somewhere else in your future to speak for you or to speak against you, depending on how they encountered you in your the first time and all of that. And just applying myself the best I knew how, you know, making my own mistakes, learning from them, but also learning from the lives of others, and never being arrogant about what I knew, and never being ashamed of what I didn't know, you know, willing to ask and to learn, and to lean on others for strength, you know, in the moments where you're just not on top of your game. And you need your circle of influence, your circle of support, and the friends who reaffirm, reassure you, and also always seeking knowledge. For me, that's something. I'm in school every year. I'm a firm believer in education, because I think that, you know, life is so dynamic. There's so much of new things coming up every time. I don't want to be behind the curve. I want to have as much as I can on my fingertips. I want to sit at the table prepared. I want to sit at the table knowing that, you know, I'm on top of my game. And if I'm not, I will learn from whoever has it. I will draw from wherever that knowledge is. But I want to at least know that I've done my best, you know, apply myself the best I can. That's all I seek. And at the end of the day, you know, my faith is important to me, for those who are believers of faith. And that is a center anchor of my life. And it gives me strength in the low times, and gives me a reason to rejoice in the high times, and keeps you hopeful. And therefore, hope is like a drug, like an adrenaline, you know. It makes you push and pursue to the next level, even when it doesn't work, because you're looking at a possible possibility. It keeps you going, allows you to push the boundary until you break through where many people have given up. And one thing I know is, as a woman of faith, I've never read any part of the Bible that's told me there's something I couldn't do because I'm a girl. So that for me is power and is strength. And it makes me completely feel at liberty to express myself in any form, in any way, and to aspire to any goal, because I don't think there's anything too big, too wide, too high because of a gender. That's got nothing to do with my brain. So I apply myself. My biggest ambition in life is to die empty, having no talent, skills, or any knowledge that I have the capacity to apply for the benefit of my country, my family, and the world, that I will not apply. So for me, life is an adventure. And adventure is, when you're on an adventure, there are loads of surprises, and I look forward to surprises along the path of my life. So I just enjoy it, doing it the best I can. Thank you.
I think, Dr. Awosika, dying empty is a very, very beautiful life goal. That's one of the most beautiful goals I've heard. I also really like what you said about how you had strong men like your father in your life. I think a lot of times when we talk about women helping women, we dismiss the roles that other good men have had as mentors in our life too. Now, I'd like also now to go to Lamia. Why don't you tell us, Lamia, about your journey as a woman and a professional?
Thank you, Dionne. Good evening, everyone. Toyin, I'd like to wish you a wonderful birthday. I'm really grateful and honored to be part of your celebration. I have very fond memories of your intervention at Casa Finance City on female leadership, and I strongly believe you are paving the way to a whole new generation of female African leaders. Well, I think that, you know, this gathering is all the more important that we are living such a peculiar time, a time that requires a whole lot of introspection, of self-reflection, and even meditation, so to speak. I think it's fair to say that the world is now changing before our eyes, and we will probably have to transform individually and collectively, which is not easy, of course. I mean, adapting, transforming, it all implies being comfortable with change, which in turn implies a certain self-security for one not to be profoundly shaken and to be able to, you know, to break the habits of being oneself in a world which is today infinitely surprising. And actually, this is what I have been doing continuously over the years in my professional and personal life. And this is what gave me the ability to navigate in an environment largely dominated by men. So to put this into some sort of context, I'd like to remind you that Morocco is ranked 143rd in the Global Gender Gap Index, which is among the 10 least performing countries in the world in terms of gender parity. So we still have a long path to go to close the gender gap in our country. And as far as I'm concerned, I have a deep conviction that in order to make the shift, there are two types of levers. One, external levers, which encourage more female leadership in various governing bodies, for instance, establishing quotas, adopting organizational levers, such as work time planning, hiring policies, and so on. And second, there are internal levers, which depends on us as women, levers on which we have direct control. And by this, I mean reconnecting with our inner self, so to speak, and finding a way to have a seat at the table with more confidence and more conviction. And this is exactly what I want to share with you today. I'd like to focus on these internal levers. It's a bit of a testimonial of about 20 years of working on my own inner self, inner security, inner freedom. So when it comes to my experience, I'd say I had two turning points in my professional life. The first one was me integrating the board of one of the largest conglomerates in Morocco at the age of 28, thus being the youngest member at that time by far. The average age was about 40, and the only other female out of 10 board members was about 10 years older. I must say that they were really not happy to see me access their close circle, especially the woman, who was the fiercest opponent. Can you believe that? She wanted to remain the queen bee, so to speak. So obviously, it made it even harder for me to lead my mission. And on another note, I knew that being in an 80% masculine board would mean that I was not necessarily going to be heard. It would be an environment where the decision makers would rather be men, a world in which women are a minority and therefore would tend to conform to a pre-established male-dominated model. So by all means, this was really a challenging period in so many ways. And obviously, failure was not an option. It would have confirmed the opinion that other board members had at that time, that a young female could not succeed in a mature and masculine environment. So a lot was at stake, not only on a personal level, but also, above all, for other young women. But ultimately, I made my way through, and I want to share with you how I survived actually in this Shark Tank. So what I did was to work on myself first, and in parallel do the job, obviously. So because how is it possible to manage and lead a team and even manage your CEO without being able to manage yourself? It all starts with knowing yourself, identifying your fears, your internal barriers, your positive drives, and so on. So I basically had to get to know myself better and deeper to build my own inner security. So I got into coaching. I know it may sound overused, and anyway, you have so many ways and tools today to work on yourself. But coaching really helped me better understand my internal beliefs, my mental conditionings, my fears, and work on them. After all, you are what you believe, and when you change your beliefs, you can change who you are, your whole self-perception, as well as your influence and impact on your environment. So this leadership coaching enabled me to increase my assertiveness, to find my rightful place within the group, and so on. And frankly, it helped me so much that I even took the initiative to become a coach myself. So now I use coaching on myself, but also as an instrumental tool to manage and lead my team. I'd like to give you a concrete example very quickly of one of the things I do now for my team, for instance. So here is the thing. Before every single team meeting, we do a roundtable to collect their internal weather forecast. The idea is to give every single team member the chance to talk about how she or he feels since the last meeting. So at first, to be honest, some of them were a bit reluctant. Sharing, obviously, is not something everyone is comfortable with. But now I can tell you that, you know, it's even something they look forward to. And for me, it's a sort of sanity check to make sure everyone is okay. You know, a lot of people could consider this approach as distracting, but it really energizes the team and makes the whole company more profitable. And it is all the more important in this COVID crisis, because it is a tremendous source of strength that gives us limitless capacity of, you know, in terms of resilience, even in this unpredictable world. The second turning point for me started with motherhood. This is the experience that has pushed my limits. Obviously, giving birth is a life-changing event for every woman. But for me, it was particularly true, as when I had my eldest son, I went through a roller coaster of emotions. Actually, during the first few days after his birth, I was over the moon, but only 15 days after, he was hospitalized. So it was really hard for me emotionally to go, you know, from one extreme to the other. It was hard, but at the same time, it made me learn how to manage my emotions, my fears, and therefore how to surrender and to accept there are things that are totally beyond our control. And it led me to an incredible spiritual journey that was a gate opener to a whole new world, obviously, or that I had a glimpse of before. So, well, actually, I used to be a classic workaholic for years. My life was exclusively about work, but with motherhood, I realized I had two jobs at the same time, and it was absolutely essential for me to keep up with both. I couldn't and wouldn't let any of those jobs down, so I needed to find the right balance, as well as the right way to keep my energy up when dealing with both. So that's pretty much how I invested myself into meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, and so on. In a nutshell, I established a daily routine. So every single day to date, I have a personal practice that I honor, come rain or shine. I do a minimum of 1.5 hours of meditation, yoga, and breathing exercises. And this gives me the ability to have the right mind clarity, so to speak. You know, I really feel the benefits on many levels. It improves my listening skills, my empathy, my emotional intelligence, and so on. And I think that meditation today can really be a life-changing experience for both men and women, actually. It's acknowledged globally and probably even more so today with everything that is happening around us. So personally, thanks to my daily practice, I cultivated the ability to have a clear awareness on, let's say, most of the situation. And I also learned how to overcome my fears. And you know, we women internalize so many negative messages that say it's wrong to have power, to succeed, to be outspoken. And fear is at the root of so many barriers. Fear of being judged, of being a bad mother, of being a bad wife, of overreaching, of drawing too much attention. So I strongly believe, again, that our thoughts are powerful enough to create and shape our own reality. So at that time, 10 years ago, when I started working in Casa Finance City, the discipline and the routine that I established gave me the clarity, the courage, the willpower to take concrete actions. So for instance, I know that I have been long, but just an example, I was aware that to be able to succeed in my career, I also needed to spend quality time with my children and couldn't give up on them. So after my pregnancy, I went to my CEO, and even if I was not sure of his reaction, I tried to convince him that giving me the possibility of working part-time would be a win-win proposal. So it was definitely not conventional in Morocco, but my CEO was willing to give it a try. So during my first year of motherhood, I was working part-time, and during this period, I learned how to balance my energy flow and actively manage my resources to avoid dipping into reserves. And this initiative proved that working part-time doesn't affect work performance at all. On the contrary, it increases the commitment to the firm and the profitability. And today, at Casa Finance City, we established the option of working part-time as a formal company policy, which now applies to all young mothers, you know. And for me, it's not a half measure. It is a significant driving power for us as female workers. Women do not have to choose between having a successful career and being a good mother. So today in my company, women are really valued and have a strong say. And I personally think that women who are fortunate enough to realize they should take responsibility for themselves should be a driving force for others. So at the end of the day, and I will leave you with this, we first convey what we are. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Lamia. I think you hit some really key points about balance, about parenthood, about a lack of self-confidence, and you gave us a practical solution. I love that you talked about meditation. That's, I think so often we talk about the problems, but not any solutions. So I really appreciate that. I'd like to go next to Ms. Ota, and if she could tell us a bit about her own journey.
Thank you, Dionne. I've been listening so attentively and I've learned so many nuggets from Bukun and Lamia. But first, a happy birthday to Mrs. Toyin Sanni. What a beautiful way to celebrate your birthday. Through this event, you're helping all of us, men and women who are attending this event, to learn how to succeed in the journey of life. But I would also add, post-COVID, that what you're doing has a significant impact on society, because there's a greater realization that some of the attributes that women have are attributes that help in success, whether as nations, whether as companies, whether as countries. I'm really honored that you asked me to join this conversation and join all of these women of distinction. And particularly also to have your chairman with us, Chief Akande, who has been a guide for me since we met at Harvard Business School in 1989, when I was an MBA student and she was on the executive program. You're an example for all of us to emulate, Antinike, as I lovingly call you. Dionne, what I thought I would do is to share my 10 principles of success that I've kind of garnered over the years. And then maybe share a few words about 3 of them, and then close. First, I believe strongly that you have to define what success looks like personally. And when you do that, you have alignment between your big dreams, your long-term goals, and your immediate-term goals. But you have to be rigorous. And that rigor means that you should take concrete action and that you have to monitor on a regular basis how you're doing versus those goals you've set. The second for me is remember that your values are your compass in this journey of life. Mine are, as my parents taught me, integrity, compassion, and empathy. Number 3, you must take personal responsibility for your life. Don't blame others for actions. You empower yourself to change your circumstance if you take responsibility for your life. My 4th is excellence is my mantra. I actually think that it's helped me conquer biases along the way, biases of being a Nigerian, being a woman, being young, being whatever biases. Number 5, invest in yourself. When you look at successful people, they're curious minds, they read voraciously, they live a life of learning from others daily. Courage and risk-taking are key. And people have often said that men are greater risk takers. I'm changing that narrative because women are thoughtful before they take risks. They just need to do it. And Lamia, you talked about fear. They can do it afraid, as Joyce Meyer has shared with us in her books. Number 7, build networks. Ensure that you have strong relationships with your family members, with your friends, with your neighbors, with your colleagues. And please don't wait when you need something to build a relationship. Build it before you ever need the help from anyone. 8, maintain a positive attitude. I call it choose love always. Be passionate of your work, your life, your family. Enjoy life. And even when things are not going very well, keep a positive perspective because you're more able to solve problems when you're positive. Failing forward is my 9th one. In fact, I've learned that what people consider failure, if handled well, is often an opportunity to stop, reflect, and change course. And that process, if you do it well, will catapult you often to greater success, greater than what you had previously. Finally, number 10, pay it forward. Lamia had talked about the society that we face today. At the end of your life, what you want is for people at your funeral to say, you truly impacted society, that you gave all of yourself and that you were generous about giving all of that. So think about paying it forward, not when you're very wealthy, not when you've finally accomplished everything that you want to do, but every day of your life. Let me just share 3 practical examples of how you apply these principles of success. Define success in a very personal manner. And Lamia, you've helped me in this point that I'm going to make. As a young woman in my culture, you're often worrying about when should I have children? When should I have a career? What are the options? There are several options, but let's take 3 options. One option is to have your children, have a family, and then have your career. Another option is to have your career and have your children. Another option, which super women, of course, like Toyin, my sister, have done, and Bukun and others, is to do both. But the point I want to make is don't do any of them because your friends are doing it. What you do is take account of your circumstances. Don't go and have children with a man that you absolutely hate because other women are having children at that time. The next one that I'd like to talk about is values. Many of us on this webinar are mothers, we're fathers, we're mentors. We have a duty to help those under our care understand the importance of values. It is probably the most important compass for your personal brand, for your reputation, what people will remember you with. And people who have followed my own career path know that because of my parents, I will stand up for what is right. It doesn't matter the cost. And what I found over the years, that in fact, they're gains rather than costs. So please help younger ones focus on values. My 3rd one is about building relationships and fostering them. I'd lived abroad for 22 years up until when I returned to Nigeria in 2010 to run the Nigerian Capital Markets Regulator, SEC. There is no way I would have gotten an opportunity to serve in government in Nigeria without fostering the relationships I had had over the last 22 years. So let me close by saying that we have a real opportunity, those of us who are on this webinar, to be champions of making sure that we are our best selves, but we also help others unleash their best selves. Africa has 58% of its population as women. McKinsey, in the November 29 report, 2009 report, they talked about the fact that on a realistic basis, over the next 5 years, if we focus on gender parity, that we could unleash more than $300 billion of GDP for Africa. If we close the gap, we could actually unleash $1 trillion. For the world as a whole, if we close the gap, in 5 years, we could unleash $28 trillion. So as we think about our post-COVID-19 solutions, empowering every person to be their best selves is what we should do, starting with ourselves. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And I think it's such an important message. I love your 10 points, and I love your, one thing you said in particular about risk taking. For me, that's been really, really crucial to my career, that I've embraced risks and taken them and done maybe what other people wouldn't do. And I think that's so important. And then to pay it forward too and encourage others. So there's so much potential on this call right now with everyone. So let me now go to Chief Mrs. Akande, if you can tell us your thoughts.
Dionne, the celebrant, Mrs. Toyin Sanni, and a very supportive family, directors and members of Emerging Africa Group, distinguished resource persons. Please permit me to especially acknowledge two of them that I know very well, that I've had opportunity of interacting with. Dr. Bukun Awosika. Doctor, it's always a pleasure to listen to you. Thank you very much. And also my dear Aruma.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My dear Aruma, scholar, since we met at Harvard some 3 decades ago, we have been friends, even though I'm much older than you, I'm an elderly person, but you have taken me as a friend, and I really appreciate this. You have been so useful. In fact, even though you're a younger person, you taught my life in a positive way. After you came back after your graduation at Harvard, you were working with the Harvard Business School, and you came to Nigeria to do a case study on a company that I was managing. I thank you very much, Aruma. And other distinguished participants, especially the men. You know, I'm always excited when I see women and men attending programs that are organized by women. We want them to listen to us, to know the way we are thinking, and that we really need their support. Good evening, everyone. People in Nigeria, good morning if you're in America, good afternoon, it depends on what part of the world you are. I'm delighted to join well-wishers home and abroad to facilitate with our group executive officer, Emerging Africa Capital, Mrs. Toyin Sanni, on the occasion of our 55th birthday anniversary. I am aware that this occasion is held in our honor. What a way to celebrate a birthday. I like your style. Distinguished participants, permit me to say a few things about the celebrant. Mrs. Sanni is one of the leading figures in the Nigerian financial market, a public speaker par excellence, a committed and dedicated leader, passionate about female empowerment, and strong advocate for gender equality. I'm pleased to be associated with you, and I'm immensely proud of you and your achievements. The theme of today's discourse, Women Who Lead, accentuates the strategic importance of women in nation building. Having more women leaders is important because female leaders change perspective about who can lead and what qualities are necessary to have in a leadership position. Women in this type of role break barriers. They don't want a situation that is business as usual, and demonstrate to everyone what women can and should achieve. Female leadership matters. Leaving other consideration aside, it results in better performance. Studies have shown that organizations with greater gender diversity, not just among themselves of staff, but especially at senior management level. So the answer to the question, why is women leadership important in our world? The answer is simply because such leadership produces better results. To lead would definitely mean so many things from different perspectives. For example, it could be to take someone to somewhere, to be in front, to be in charge, to cause something to happen, to be in control, to be more successful, to be winning, and to influence among others. From whatever perspective is the meaning, I want to describe a leader as a person who directs and controls a group, organization, and an entity. As John Maxwell once stated, and I quote, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way," end of quote. It was only in the past that only the men are reserved for positions of leadership, while women are left to earn whatever their level of education and exposures in the kitchen. Even with that, there were some women who were able to stand at par with men in leadership, especially as it affects politics, education, and all aspects of governance and administration. For example, it is no longer news that nations led by women have been more successful at containing the coronavirus pandemic. Even Germany's Angela Merkel and New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, to Finland's Sanna Marin, Norway's Al Solberg, it is noted that female leaders fought and are still fighting COVID-19 outbreaks more efficiently than their male counterparts. According to WHO report, they registered lower COVID-19 cases, lower death rates, and lower disruption of their nation's economies during this pandemic. From a leadership perspective, the success of these women represents the victory of a style of leadership that is completely different from the average leaders. What differentiates them is empathy, putting health and human security at the very heart of their leadership and response to the pandemic in their individual countries. In Nigeria, just a fair percentage of women are considered for positions of authority and leadership, not because many of us do not have the qualities required, but I think our cultural beliefs about the girl child is still affecting us in this regard. All the same, the fact remains that women are waking up to identify the greatness in them, hence developing themselves to be leaders in their different chosen fields. I believe that if we can do more, organize, and attend this kind of enlightenment capacity building programs among ourselves, there will be more and more for us to achieve as women, and a more reasonable percentage of us can emerge as leaders. I'm of the opinion women can lead and achieve positively even more than some of our men. From my personal experience, I've compiled some important tips, which I believe will be of enormous benefit for actual and upcoming female professionals and entrepreneurs. These tips uncover the unique characteristics of respected women leaders in the society, and also provides insight on what you should be doing as a female professional intending to take leadership roles in the foreseeable future. The first one, self-development is a must. I was born some 75 years ago. I attended Queen's School Leiden for my secondary education. And I also attended University of North London and where I studied accountancy. I did my postgraduate program, executive postgraduate program at the prestigious Harvard Business School, and also attended management development courses at Oxford University, United Kingdom, IMD Lausanne, Switzerland, and INSEAD Business School, Abu Dhabi, UAE. So, having said all these tips, let me start with the first one that I mentioned, self-development. And then the second one, develop a strong personal brand and be visible. You have to be visible. You will always find me sitting up front at seminars that are organized in this country. I've been part of Vision 2010, Vision 2020, Economic Summit. I join every one of them, and I always sit up front. Build your network. I joined the Chamber of Commerce, NASIMA, and I rose to the post of being the president, the second woman to be president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce in about 130 years. And also, you have to get to know the right people and impress them with your work. Be someone people want to work with. Because I have been quite exposed and visible, people like to work with me, and they always invite me to join them in many organizations. And plan your career. At a tender age, my father had only four girls, no boy. But he gave us confidence. He made us to believe in ourselves. He educated us. And at a tender age, I'd always wanted to be a minister. At the age of 10, I was doing a lesson my mother got a lesson teacher for me during my primary school days. And they said one minister died. And I said, I was listening. I wasn't even interested in the lesson again. I was interested in the minister. So my teacher then said, what do you know about a minister? I said, because I'm going to be a minister in Nigeria one day. But thank God, I eventually became a minister in Nigeria. And then you must be focused and diligent. Be yourself. And the more confident and competent you appear, the more you'll be able to build confidence in the abilities of others. Find a mentor. Be consistent in whatever you do. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, once again, I facilitate with the celebrant, my dear sister, Mrs. Toyin Sanni. I charge our esteemed participant to pay attention to this discourse. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I love the timeliness of your reminder about how women leaders have handled COVID much better than others. I love that, that you reminded us of that. And I also, one thing you were saying made me think of something that I like to do. You're talking about finding a mentor. I also think if it's impossible for women to find mentors, you can be a sponge, like learn little bits and pieces from everyone you meet, from all your bosses, from all your colleagues, and kind of put that all together and internalize that. And I think that sometimes it's hard to find mentors, and if you can't, that's one thing that helps. But now I'd like to turn things over to Toyin Sanni to talk about her own experiences. I'm really excited to hear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to start by really thanking God for everybody that is a part of this wonderful event, and for the opportunity to make this particular dream of mine come true. Let me start also by acknowledging present in this place, my deputy governor, the deputy governor of my state, who deemed it fit to honor us with her presence, and who is a woman like us. Your Excellency, Engineer Noimot Salako Yedele, you are very welcome. Thank you so much for the honor of your presence. Later in the course of the discourse, you will be getting an opportunity to take a goodwill message from you. Thank you for the honor. Thank you very, very much also, my chairman, the chairman of chairmen. She is the group chairman of Emerging Africa Capital Group. Within the group, we have 4 chairmen of the different companies. She's chairman of the chairmen. And of course, Chief Dr. Mrs. Akande is, she has the double federal honor of OON and CON, has been twice the Minister of Industry for Nigeria. And as the other speakers have said, she is the one that laid a foundation for the rest of us to be climbing on it. Thank you so much, ma. I want to thank the other speakers, who are all women from whom I learn every day, who are women who teach me, mentor me, help me, support me. Thank you so, so much, my darling sister, Aruma. I mean, you have been an incredible part of my journey. And I mean, this is not a vote of thanks, but in the course of speaking, I'm sure you will get the points, you know, that I'm trying to make. So thank you so much, Aruma. Dr. Ibukun Awosika, you are an amazing, amazing mentor and coach to millions of women and men. Thank you for being here and for the nuggets of wisdom that I'm getting from you. Thank you, Lamia, all the way from Morocco. Thank you. Lamia also chairs she's the ambassador for the Africa CEO Forum for Morocco, and she also runs the CEO Women's Forum, the Women Working for Change Africa, the Morocco branch as well. So she brings a lot of mentorship and coaching and sponsorship perspective. And last but not the least, Dionne Searcey. Dionne, our moderator, who is an award-winning journalist and is the author of the book In Pursuit of Disobedient Women, who has been chronicling the stories of women who refused to stay where we were asked to stay, and of the men who dare to support these women. I thank you so much for the honor and privilege of having you here. Now, I'm going to be very brief in my explanation of my journey. And I will say that my journey has revolved around 5 critical points. The 5 critical points that my journey to where I am today have revolved around start with God. Ever since I was a little girl, God had been my everything. My consciousness of God, commitment to pleasing Him has been a key driver in my journey. And I guess the sense of accountability to a power that is higher than me and that is higher than any person that I know essentially makes me so accountable for everything I do and every choice I make that it helps me so many times to make the right choices. And I will attribute that to where I am. Secondly, for me, has been also what I call people. And that's why I had to make the acknowledgements that I made at the beginning. I am where I am because of the people that God has brought into my life and has given me the capacity to retain. So Aruma spoke about being out of Nigeria for 22 years and coming into Nigeria to take a high-ranking government position, because in those 22 years, she did not disconnect. And all the women around this table and the men in this room, including my very wonderful dear husband who is here with me now, they have been our ability, the grace to maintain these relationships is what has helped me to be where I am. Every opportunity I have had in life, somebody gave me that opportunity. You always need a connector. You always need a link. You always need a human being, male, female. And so it is very critical for you to recognize and appreciate the relationships in our lives and the reasons why they have been brought in our lives. People matter, people matter, people matter. And if you have somebody who cares enough about you to give you feedback that can help you to be a better person, please value it. Aruma is smiling because she gave me some amazing feedback, even in the course of the last couple of days. And, you know, she felt like, oh, you know, I was just clapping for her and so grateful, because that is the hallmark of love. My chairman, she calls me to order. So if you want to succeed in life, you must be accountable to people. There must be people that can talk to you and caution you when you are going the wrong way, and they must know that you will not take offense, that you are teachable, that you have a listening ear, and that you want to be the best, and you will do what it takes to be the best. As long as you have people like that, if your superiors at work know that about you, your colleagues know that about you, even your subordinates know that about you, if they know you can take honest feedback, if they know that you always want the best solution, and you will listen to them if they are offering you the best solution, they will help you to achieve your goals. So we cannot be defensive. We cannot be always oversensitive. So I will say what has helped me a lot, a great deal, and is a big part after God, is people, the people in my life, men and women. There are two people here, apart from my deputy governor, that I'm looking forward to hearing from again today. There's Dr. Mrs. Awele Elumelu. She's here representing the Elumelu family. They're a big part of, you know, how I have reached where I am. My chairman, former chairman and still chairman on the board of Transcorp PLC, Mr. Tony Elumelu, CON, he's a big part of my story. And so we rest on the shoulders of people, you know. And then my pastor, Mrs. Helen Oyitso, she's the wife of my regional pastor. They are my spiritual leaders that mentor me and guide me and help me to be who I am. And I'm looking forward to hearing from her as well. And another thing that would show you is that all of us have, you have multiple constituencies, and you must respect, recognize, and honor those constituencies. So the third, talking about people, the third critical constituency for me is also family. So my husband and his family, and so many of them have joined us today. They are very important to me. My own family, both my immediate family and my extended family, they're a big part of who I am. Aruma spoke about how her father raised her. Dr. Ibukun spoke about how her father raised her. Chairman spoke about how her parents raised them. So none of us dropped out of the sky. So I need to say that a big part of my journey is also people. Now, the next thing I want to say is purpose. And to be honest with you, why, by the grace of God, we are marking this birthday in this way is because I must fulfill purpose. And by the leading and the guidance of God, I know that the next phase of my life is going to be around people development and building people. And so that purpose is what has brought us here, and especially women. So if we have a sense of purpose and we take the time to ask God what he wants to do with our lives, we will not miss it. And when you're walking in the direction of purpose, you are moving, as it were, in the same direction as the tide. And so it's much easier for you. Now, the fourth thing that is critical to me is seasons and timing. There is a time and a season for everything. If we miss the seasons of life, we slow ourselves and we set ourselves back. And I recently recovered from an attack of COVID-19, and it was a very traumatic time for me and for my family. And when I recovered, and then I realized that a birthday was coming, immediately I knew that this season of life must be maximized. So if God spared my life and I did not die of COVID, my life has to count for something. And so if I'm going to have a birthday celebration, it has to be something that will have a catalytic impact on other people and make the world, as it were, a better place. And I'm so grateful for the wonderful women and men who also align with this vision and are able to help. So we must seize timing. We must seize timing. If it wasn't my 55th birthday, I have a feeling, even though these wonderful, amazing women and men around the room, they love me, they have been supportive. But if I just called and I just said, oh, I'm having a seminar, can you come and jump in? You know, most of the people here are not even in the country right now, they're in transit somewhere or the other, they wouldn't come. But it is my 55th birthday, so it gives me an excuse and gives me extra leverage to call on these wonderful, very ultra busy and ultra important women, and you must use it. So we must seize time. Timing is very important. And the last one is meaning. You know, Aruma said something at the beginning. Her very first point in her 10 success points was determine what success means to you. And so, what if I do everything and, you know, we make a lot of money and all that, and it doesn't give me joy and it doesn't give me inner fulfillment, it's a waste of time. So recognizing what gives life meaning for me, what makes life worthwhile for me is very important. And that's why, by the grace of God, family has been a big part of, you know, what I have done and what I have not been willing to compromise in bringing me here. So I'm grateful for my dear husband. I'm grateful for my children who are a part of this celebration and for their patience in allowing me to mark this day in this way. So thank you very much, Dionne. I hope I have not exceeded my time allotted. I hope I can be forgiven if I have.
You're allowed a little extra. So I think you said some really important things. And first I want to say I'm really happy that you're okay and recovered from COVID. That must have been terrifying. You talked about needing a connector, and I think that is so important. I like to say that every story that I write, or every, you know, in my profession in journalism, I need a shepherd. I need someone to walk me through and guide me. And I think this is true in our careers too. Even if it's a million different shepherds, or for just each individual situation that we encounter, you need someone to guide you through it when you're starting out. And I think finding that person and latching onto them is really important. We're going to take some questions from the audience, and then I have some questions also. But a lot of you have talked about support from your family. And one of the audience questions that has come in that I thought was really important to highlight first is about managing expectations from our partners, from our husbands in particular. And you know, this could apply to your children too. You know, husbands want you to be emotionally available for them, physically available. Just, you know, they want to, let's be clear, they want a partner, right? And when you're focusing on your career, that kind of balance is really tough. So would any of you like to answer this? Please just jump in and give some thoughts and advice on how to manage that.
If I may just start, I mean, what I would say is you don't get to do all of those things all on the same day. They're different days for different parts of it. I have a principle of equity, which means that when my husband is, on some days, he's the most important person and he will get the attention that he deserves, but I would gain equity doing that, which I would trade on the day that I cannot be there as he wants me because there are other things that on that day have become far more important. And one of the things I have learned is to always find a way to carry your stakeholders along. Carrying your stakeholders along is key. And that's your husband, your children, and the other parts of your life that have a stake on your life, one way or the other. And if you can manage that, communication is key. And well, if you just give me 1 second, I've got a phone that's, okay, I think it's off. Okay, if we pay attention to communicating so that we're not pretending to be who we're not, I always say to the young women, look, have a sense of who you are before you choose the guy that you want to marry. Be clear about the kind of life you want, and therefore you will know if that guy is the right kind of guy who has the capacity to support you. And if you get married pretending you want to be a housewife, and then you get into the middle of it and you want to be a high-flying woman, then you married on the wrong contracts. But if a man meets a woman who is smart, ambitious, driven, going somewhere and says, I do, well, obviously you already knew at the time you were saying, I do, that she's going to make something of her life. So it would be between the two to find a way to, every woman knows her own husband, okay? And no two couple represent the same, they're not like any other couple. So what I always say to the women is, find your own system that works. Find the language through which you can communicate to your own husband. Find a way where you can get the support you need on both sides. You support each other, but find a truthful, honest way that you can carry yourself along. If I'm taking on any new assignment, I make it a point of duty to carry my husband along in the process of committing to that assignment. And if we decide together this is something to do, even if I already know I'm going to do it, I am going to have a conversation in a way that it seems like we both agree together we're going to do this. And once we can make that conclusion together, obviously, when the demands of that situation arise, still with a certain level of wisdom. And for us as African women, it's different because the context of our society and the context of the patriarchal society that we're brought up in has its own demands, which is why it's important to understand your own specific unit and find your own specific wisdom that allows your own specific unit to work in a way that you're able to find the space and the liberty to keep your husband happy on as many days as you can, but yet find the space to run as you need to and take care of, and it's a better time than before. As the mother of the house or the wife, my husband needs to eat, my children need to have food, things need to happen in my house. But do I have to do it? No. I just need to make sure those things work. Do I go to the market? Obviously not. There are people who need to take care of that. I need to make sure that that system works. Is there food at my table? Yes. Do I need to cook? No. But I need to make sure that there's food at my table for my family, because those are cultural parts of my responsibility as the woman in the house. And find it, just make it work. My husband and I, specific holidays entered into my diary for the year. Why? Those are moments where he gets me 100%. I pay him serious attention. I've booked it as part of my itinerary for the year, and I gain equity. That equity I will spend when I need to run. And he will understand, because he knows that I'm not there, not because I don't care or he's not important, but because there are also some other things that are important in my life. And he knew that when he married this girl. So we just have to work out how it works. Thank you.
I loved every single word of that. That was amazing, including that equity that he builds up, that you build up with him, so you can spend it elsewhere. That's wonderful. I think that's a perfect answer. I want to ask a different question. We often talk about maximizing our career opportunities and how to do that, but Were you ever dealt a setback in your career, and how did you handle that? Can anyone give us examples? Maybe Ms. Ota, because you talked about failing forward, I believe, or anyone who wants to jump in, but I'm curious what you think.
Okay. So I'll give an example that a number of the participants in the webinar can connect to. So actually, moving back to Nigeria, I was supposed to become, I was being considered as a cabinet member, as a minister. The late president of Nigeria, President Yar'Adua, was revisiting his cabinet. He'd had, at the beginning of his time, a lot of politicians, and they'd gone around to try and get technocrats that they felt would help in moving his agenda forward. So I'd been told that I would be a minister. And by the time he needed to make all the decisions, there wasn't any position for me, because in Nigeria, you have to organize by states, and there were two politicians who had contributed significantly to his campaign from the state that I come from. I tell this story because, when that happened, I shared with the president of Nigeria at the time how honored I was that I was considered, and thanked him and said that I would be available to continue to help the country. I was providing advice. So when the next opportunity came, which was the role that I then had for 5 years, he had actually, they had gone through a process and sent him names of those who he should consider as the Director General of SEC Nigeria. And he got the list, and he said, oh, no, there's a woman I know. She's like a guru in capital markets. She's done great things. And we need to fix the financial sector in Nigeria. And I need this woman, and I need somebody who's been away for very long, because then they don't have any relationships, because I wanted to close her eyes and do what she needs to do. If I had been upset at the time that I'd been made a promise that I'd be a minister, and I didn't act in the way that I needed to act, which was that my interest was to focus on helping our nation move forward, and I didn't mind whatever opportunity that I was given at the time. On an aside, my older sister, who's like the greatest advisor to me in everything that I do, she said she was praying so hard that I wouldn't become a minister, because she thought that, having been away for 22 years, that it'd be difficult for me to adjust to the environment in Nigeria. And so between her and God, I think they decided that the role of running an independent agency in an area that I was passionate about, transforming Nigeria through the capital markets, was important. So my key message is, disappointments are not really disappointments. They're just an opportunity for you to learn. They're an opportunity for you to think about, to get noticed. I mean, if I hadn't been considered for minister, I would not be considered for the head of the capital market regulator. And any day in the time that I was in Nigeria, I'd have chosen the opportunity that I had to be at the center of transforming our capital markets.
That's wonderful. I love those real life examples. That's perfect. So thank you so much for sharing that. Lamia, I wanted to ask you, I think you had some extra thoughts, some advice and tips for women in their journey. Can you go ahead and share those?
Oh, sure, Dionne. For me, what I'd like to convey is that the most powerful tool you have, what is the most powerful tool that you have in your journey? Is your awareness, your self-awareness. Because this is your level of awareness and consciousness, which can give you the ability to deal with the unexpected, which can give you more confidence, more courage, more audacity. But, how to achieve that? This is perhaps the most difficult, but also crucial journey someone can undertake in life. This is the journey of a lifetime, to get your fears again, your needs, your highest purpose in your life, what makes you energized, and so on. So for me, the first step is to become aware and familiar with your inner self, and especially your fears. You know, welcome them and embrace them. And just by doing this, they start vanishing. And then I'd like to mention Sheryl Sandberg. Ask yourself, what would you do if you were not afraid? And then go and do it. I have maybe another advice, which is that you should dare to ask for the things that seem right to you. You should be proactive. You should be bold in your corporate environments and go beyond your limits and scope of action. It's important to stop self-censorship, and it's important to hold yourself accountable for your lack of initiative. So remember, you first convey what you are.
That's wonderful. We're almost out of time, and I'm sorry we're not going to get to all these questions, but I did have one more question. If any of you want to answer, some in the audience have asked a little bit about how to be charming, and how to not be perceived as too rigid. And I think that's a really intense balancing act that a lot of women have to, have to sort out. I wonder if any of you can answer, being firm without being bossy, or being charming without being flirty, or, there are all these personality traits that I think women are scrutinized for. Toyin, what do you think about that?
All right. I think it's a wonderful question. And I think, unfortunately, because we're in a patriarchal society, some of the demands that are not made of are unfortunately made of women. So men don't have to be charming on the job, and they're not necessarily expected to be human or whatever it is. They actually are expected to be businesslike, and they are accepted when they're businesslike. But I do think that leaders should see ourselves as leaders and not necessarily as women leaders, so to speak. So as a leader, what is important is not necessarily to be charming. It is to have empathy. It is for those whom you are leading to know that you care about them, about their well-being, and that you are fair, and that you're a decent person. You will take the right and the best decisions for the organization. I think what is important is to build trust. If people trust you, they will follow you. And you will not need to manipulate them by, trying to be charming, or, you should just be yourself, but build trust. They need to know that you can take them where they're going, where they need to go, and that you are going to do it in a way that will not get the organization into a ditch or in trouble. I mean, that's what I really have to share about this. Thank you.
I'm so glad
you might, sorry,
I was Please, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to add to that, look, when it comes to women, the reality is there are certain expectations and assumptions that are made about how you should behave and how you should not. And therefore, like Toyin said, you get judged on those things. But I'm a firm believer in living your reality. And our reality is that we play in a field where the largest number of decision makers and the power brokers, as at this moment, are men. And therefore, as women, you have to be strategic and deliberate, understanding that you need the men that you work with as your allies. And if you need allies around you, you need men and women as allies, but because there are more men holding the power and the position that you need to align with, as at this moment, you must find how to work with them in a constructive manner, rather than it seeming like you're working against them or aggressive towards them. And it's not because we're aggressive, it's because sometimes we have to be in a position where we're defensive. So becoming a little more emotionally intelligent about how you manage your emotions, your reactions, your interactions with the men in a way that you operate on your own terms without compromises that can come with a lack of understanding of how to play, and yet you're able to draw them in to have a respectable relationship where there's mutual respect for one another. There isn't a them and us. There is a we with mutual respect, because at the table, you earn their respect by what you know, by your performance, but by also learning to engage with them in a way that does not create a bridge or a barrier. And along, you learn better how to handle that. You know, we are naturally more emotional, so that sometimes can play against us if we don't know how to manage it well. You know, men also sometimes are uncomfortable because the liberty to be naughty or to express themselves in certain ways becomes checked when there are women around. And therefore, they're not sure, especially now in this Me Too era, men are no longer quite sure how to conduct, especially for the responsible ones. Some don't care. They don't know how to conduct themselves around the women. So we also have the responsibility to find a way to make them feel comfortable around us, but in a way that we engage with them on our terms. And if you go back to the early conversation, I think it was Aruma that talked about our values. It then becomes really important, the way you have put yourself out, the way you have conducted yourself, the kind of values that you have expressed in terms of your ways of doing things that has either earned you their respect in a way that they don't cross certain lines with you, but yet you can laugh and smile together. You can see them and their wives and their family and relate. They're in a position where they're not even going to cross certain lines, and yet you can work together. They can see you as a partner. So it comes with time, and you learn along the way. And what I would like to say is, for those of us who have had the privilege and the opportunity to walk a bit longer or a bit more along that journey, we have to deliberately share and help many more women to learn how to do this successfully. Because the hard skills most women have, they're ready technically, but the softer skills that keeps you at the table and allows you to play longer and more effectively in a sustainable manner is what is not necessarily known by men and women, but even more so by the women, because they are measured on a different term. That's what I'll say for now. Thank you.
That's great. And Chief Mrs. Akande, do you have any thoughts to add to that?
Yes, as I said earlier, the qualities of a leader is hard work, honesty, transparency, intellectual and professional rigor, and a winning mindset. Apart from these qualities, there are some strategies that women must adopt, because the men are not easy to deal with. You must play to your own strength, and don't be afraid of fear. Am I good enough for this post? Am I smart enough? Will I fail? Throw caution to the wind. Look fear straight in its ugly face and march forward. Do not lose your sense of humor when you're dealing with men, and be happy and respect them. I have been lucky to gain respect of my husband because I want to make him a success story like me. He is a successful man, and he has always supported me in whatever I do. I advise women not to drive into water if you don't know how deep it is. Women are as capable and as energetic as the men. On your way to the top, I always tell women, you will stumble and fall. You will experience both disaster and triumph, sometimes on the same day. But it is so important to remember that, like a hangover, neither trial nor disaster lasts forever. You know they both will pass and a new day arrives. So just try and make the new day count. That is my advice for the day. Thank you.
That's wonderful. I think we're going to wrap up here now, move on to the next session, the next portion of our session tonight. But I want to just recap some of the things that I thought were really important that people said. Don't be afraid of fear.
Yes.
or of failing. I think that's really, really important for all of us, and to take risks. And one thing that Toyin said that really struck me that I've embraced in my own career is to have empathy. And don't underestimate the importance of empathy for our colleagues, for our bosses, for people underneath us. And, just really consider the situations that they're in, and channel your own empathy to do good work. I think that's really important. So I'm going to turn this over to Peace. Thank you all to our wonderful, wonderful panel of women who I've learned so much from tonight.
Thank you so much, Dionne. I'm literally sitting here with a pen in my hand, writing notes avidly. It was such an amazing discussion. I hope everyone's had so much good takeaways. I have a book full. I loved everything that Madam Awosika was saying, where she was talking about faith being key and being such a key component to success. And the goal to die empty is an amazing one. I'm actually going to steal that. So if you hear me, please don't expose me. But I loved the message that Madame Otter was talking about, defining success on your own terms, which is so hard because there's so much pressure now on us as young women as to what success should look like, as opposed to what our own path will chart. And something that really resonated to me was Madame Sanni, when you were speaking about people mattering. My mum is everything to me, and I think family is truly the key foundation to success. So I have so much here, and I'm not going to repeat everything, but thank you so much for such invaluable wisdom that you've shared with us. I think tonight has really shown us that women are truly leaders on every layer, whether they're in the household or whether they're a CEO within a huge company. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. And that is what I believe has been demonstrated in the careers and the nuggets that have been shared with us of wisdom tonight. So thank you once again for your amazing insight. And while that panel was going on, we had the entrance. So before we move to the second segment, I just want to recognize Her Excellency Deputy Governor Noima Tseloko Oyedele and Mrs. Awele Vivian Elumelu and Pastor Mrs. Helen Oyitso. You're most welcome to talk with us tonight. Now we're moving to the second segment, which is the celebration and birthday of the remarkable Mrs. Toyin F. Sanni. As we celebrate her 55th birthday, we'd like to show how much her life's work has had an impact on women all over the world. And so we would like to invite some exceptional leaders to share some goodwill messages with us. Now, first, we'd like to invite Mrs. Awele Vivian Elumelu, who is the chairman of Avon Medical Group. You're most welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. So good evening, everyone, and a very happy birthday to Toyin Sanni. I'm really happy that I'm here to celebrate this day with you. And I'm completely blown away like everybody else. This has been a fantastic session. It's been an incredible way to celebrate your birthday. But indeed, you are an incredible person. As you know, you're someone that my husband and I find, we have immense respect for. as you did say, you've worked with him for such a long time. I'm sure everybody knows you're such a hard worker. You're so diligent in your work. Your energy is boundless. And I'm particularly impressed, with this session that you've chosen to have. It's very impressive, the way you've taken women empowerment, the way you're working hard to encourage others. So I am very happy to be part of it. Thankful that you chose to bring me into your celebration, to bring us into your celebration, because as you bring my husband, you bring me, as you bring me, you bring my husband. So we're very happy. There is indeed a lot to be grateful for. You've had an amazing life. You've been blessed with an amazing family, and you're such a powerful woman of God. So one thing I particularly find very impressive, I love about you is even with everything, your love for God shines through. It comes through in all that you do. So I want to just join you on behalf of my family and myself to thank God for your life, to thank God for the protection He has given you, as you've shared with all of us this evening. I mean, I'm sure a number of us might have known already, saving you from this scourge that we're all experiencing now. So I am thanking God with you, for you, and with everybody else that is here. It's an amazing, amazing experience. So congratulations as you celebrate this birthday. We're here with you. We're impressed by what you're doing. May you do many more. We pray that even as you're touching lives this night, you will continue to touch more lives, both directly and by the lives you've touched. The ripple effect of what you're doing this night, may it continue to go on. May God continue to give you the strength, the energy to do more, continue to bless you and your family with good health. And averagely, I spend 4 to 6. Sorry? Okay, I think it was just so that I don't take up the whole night, just to say I'm very happy and excited to be here, and I celebrate with you from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you many, many more years in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
My love to the chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Ilomolu, for such kind words. Next, please, I'd like to welcome Her Excellency, Deputy Governor Noimod Salako Oyedele. You're most welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, good evening, and very happy birthday to Mrs. Toyin Sanni. Happy 55th birthday. Like everybody, I join you and your family to thank God for your life, for your experiences, and for what you're doing for everybody. This is probably one of the largest webinars I've been on. We have over 1,200 people here on a weekday. It's phenomenal, and I think it's a testament to who you are and what you stand for, and also for the caliber of people who you have brought here today. I've been blown away like everybody else, listening to experiences, borrowing ideas. I like the Dr. Awosika credits. I'm going to use that because in my job, I need a big stash of credits and equity that I will now dispense to my husband and my children as I go around doing this job. Yeah, the subject matter has been very interesting, and it's one that I'm very passionate about. I am in this job because of what I'll call gender discrimination. It was particular that His Excellency the Governor said, I would like a woman to be my deputy. As everybody has commented here, we're in a patriarchal society, and it's almost impossible in this business of politics to get ahead without looking out for women specifically. Now that I'm here, I've taken it as a responsibility to do my best so that nobody will turn around and say, oh, why did we choose a woman? I see it as an opportunity to let people know that women can do these things too, and you have to give everybody a chance. I don't believe in tokenism. I don't want women to get given a job just because they're a woman. But I think that where we have very capable women, they should be given an opportunity to show what they can do. Everybody else here spoke about their dad. My dad did this for me. My dad trained me. My dad did that. And I think it's fantastic that actually when you look at a successful woman, she probably has a very strong father who has helped her and pushed her and said, you go do it. You know, my dad, we're 3 girls and a boy, and my dad never looked at anybody and said, oh, let the boy do this and let the girl not do it. You know, so we have to also, as mothers, make sure that we help our children and the men on the platform as well to help their daughters to do their best. So that once we give them the education and all, then the support to be able to navigate the complexities of the workplace and complexities of society, we give that to them as well. This has been a fantastic opportunity for me, and I thank Toyin for this. I'm sure it's an unprecedented birthday celebration. You know, we would otherwise have been somewhere eating and drinking and, you know, not have enjoyed this. So thank you very much for deciding to do this. And I wish you the very best in the years ahead, and also in your plans to go on and develop more women into very important and strategic positions. There's a saying that your network is your net worth. I'm glad that I'm part of your network, and I look forward to more opportunities to also learn from you and from the wonderful, wonderful women who are here. Have a nice evening, everybody, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you, because you are my Deputy Governor. Thank you for representing my state of birth. And thank you so very much for your love and your support for me ever since I've known you. And I think one of the first things you did after we met was to put me to use at an event that you were involved in. So thank you for the way in which you identify women and you help us to actualize the graces that God has given us. Thank you for being a part of tonight. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency Deputy Governor Noimot Salako Oyedele. Now please welcome our third goodwill message from Pastor Mrs. Helen Oyitso, the wife and special advisor to the General Overseer and Pastor in charge of Region 19 of the RCCG. You are most welcome, Madam.
Good evening, everyone. And I want to say big congratulations to Pastor Mrs. Toyin Sanni on your 55th birthday celebration. Toyin, you are truly an amazing person. In all the years that I've known you, you have really, really been amazing. As a wife, as a mother, as a professional, you're just all over the place doing the things that you know best. I just want to pray with you on this particular day that all the good things that you have talked about tonight, all the things that have made Toyin you what Toyin is, your relationship with God, the beautiful people that God has put around you, that you will not lose any one of them as you journey along in the name of Jesus. I want to thank God for how He has used you to lift up so many people in the church and outside the church. And I want to really bless God for this great initiative that God gave to you to celebrate this birthday by bringing up women and empowering them. I trust God that this will be the beginning of many of such programs, that every 10th of September, we'll be looking forward to something like this, because I have been truly blessed. I have been educated. I have been, I've just been blown out, like everybody has said. I've learned so much from the great women that have spoken tonight. And I know that it's the same for many. From all the comments I've been saying, this is a great initiative. And I pray that you will continue in this line. So on behalf of my husband and on behalf of all the women in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Region 19, where you belong, we want to say a very happy birthday to you. And we want to pray that you will grow in wisdom, that you will grow in favor with God and with men, and that you will finish well in the name of Jesus. Once again, Toyin, I say congratulations to you. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Ma. Thank you, and my love to Pastor.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mrs. Helen Oyitsa. Now, there's a saying, and it always says that behind every successful man, there is a woman. And what I love about the Sannis is that they turn that saying completely around. You see, right next to this successful woman is a remarkable man. And tonight, I'd like to introduce the better half of Mrs. Toyin F. Sanni, Mr. Segun Sanni. Now, for those of us who may not have had the pleasure of meeting him, Mr. Sanni is a seasoned banker, a real estate investment expert, a politician, and a high chief in Yoruba land. He and Mrs. Sanni have 3 children together and have been married for 29 years. A loving and supporting husband over the years, Mr. Sanni would like to propose a toast to his wife.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Stand, but you won't be able to see me, so please permit me to sit down while proposing the toast. Thank you very much, wonderful people. I can stand now. Okay. It's indeed very heartwarming to see this wonderful gathering of highly successful people, especially women. We have in this gathering over, I think, about 1,500 people, most of whom are women, but a large number of them are also men. It's indeed a pride for me to be Toyin's husband. I'm very happy, and in our 29 years together. Of course, you must have a kind of a peculiar spirit, you know, you know, operate successfully, and you know, in an atmosphere of true understanding, self-confidence, of self-worth, because Toyin, indeed, a woman, but operates at levels that even men would gasp for breath, you know, to operate at. I always ask, how do you do these things? Because on one hand, Toyin is operating as a banker and closing deals, running after transactions, sometimes even fasting and praying for mandates, fasting and praying to attend meetings and all that. And then the next moment, okay, she's off to Abuja to speak at an event or to meet some minister, you know, and all that, or to lead some market initiatives or advocacy, you know, events. And then the next moment, she's back and then she's in the church, you know, Sunday school, midweek services, and the rest of them. So it's indeed amazing, and it says, I mean, it's indeed a thing of pride for me and for the children to be our family. And we want to say a big thank you to you people. We can't thank you enough for sparing the time. You are successful people, and despite your busy schedules, you have deemed it fit to be a part of this event. And so let's do together to Toyin. Let's dream together to good health, to success, to leadership, to friendship, essentially. Thank you very much. So let's charge our glasses and let us drink to friendship, leadership, and love. You know.
To gender equality.
gender equality, you know, women empowerment, breaking abstinence. And want to say a very big happy birthday to Toyin. I love you.
Thank you
so very much.
Thank you.
And children say the same.
We all love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, wonderful people.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I guess we can sit again. Okay. I'm going to cut the cake. I hope it will see us.
Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful toast, Mrs. Dionne Searcey, for a wonderful toast. I was here with my bottle of water cheering you, toasting with you. Well, now it's time to cut the cake. And there is no other woman worthy of this honor than our very own chairman of this event, Ms. Nike Akande, CON. Ms. Akande has an illustrious career, which is filled with several groundbreaking achievements that will take us the entire pandemic to go through, to be honest. But just to give you a brief summary of her remarkable career, Mrs. Akande was the first Nigerian woman to be appointed as the Minister of Industry, as well as the two-time Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She has held several leadership positions, including Group Chairman of the Emerging Africa Capital Group, former Director at PZ Curzons, the Union Bank, the Trustee of President Obasanjo's Presidential Library. She holds qualifications from some of the top institutions in the world, including Harvard Business School, where she was the first president of Harvard Business School Association for Nigeria. An alumni of the Oxford University in the United Kingdom, the International Institute for the Management Development of Switzerland, and INSEAD Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Nike Akande to help us cut the cake. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you with your kind introduction. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, I hope you're still around. Mr. Segun Sanni, the supportive husband of our group CEO, and members of her family, our distinguished participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Our amiable CEO is 55. Congratulations. Many happy returns of the day. Long life, coupled with good health and more prosperity. I always say that it's not how old one is, what achievements, what influence, and what impact has one had on other people. Judging by that yardstick, Mrs. Sanni is a success story. She has influenced the lives of many people and has touched many lives in many positive ways. In just a years of over 50 years, half a century, 55 years to be precise. The grace of God has always been with Mrs. Sanni. She's a very religious person. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I spell grace to cut the birthday cake. G R. Okay, we are waiting for the cake. Okay. Okay. Mrs. Sanni, Mr. Segun Sanni, and the children, they are all there. Now we are going to cut the cake. Please join me as I spell grace. G R A C E. The grace of God. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Congratulations and jubilation. I wish you many happy returns of the day. Thank you very much. I hope you will send my cake to me through the Zoom. Thank you. Can we sing a birthday song for her? Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear
Toyin. Happy birthday to you.
We wish you many happy returns
on the day.
on the day.
Long life
Long life
and more
and
prosperity.
Hip,
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 hip. Hooray!
hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray!
Hip,
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 hip, hip.
hip,
Hooray!
hooray! Thank you very much.
And then divide the soul internally focused. Manala Lamia.
Yeah, so we can.
That's what this one is. That's what I tried to
Thank you so much, Chief Akande, CON. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm hoping that the birthday cake is also on the way to me. I'm on standby by my door after this, but next I'd like to call Miss Ada Ijara, the Deputy Managing Director of Emerging Africa Asset Management. Give a vote of thanks. Let's welcome Miss Ijara.
I'm sorry, let me find out how much this hour, how long this hour.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's such an honor to have been asked to give the vote of thanks tonight. Wow, what an evening it's been. To be candid, I knew that this event with the exciting lineup of speakers would be special, but I'm sure I speak for all of us in saying that it truly has exceeded our expectations. And so on behalf of the EAC group tonight, I would just like to thank our wonderful chairman, Chief Mrs. Nike Akande, for sharing her nuggets with us for women who desire to lead. Our deep gratitude tonight also goes to our speakers who have done an amazing job tonight. Our special thanks once more go to Dr. Mrs. Awosika. Thank you so much for telling us, to refuse to settle and to continue to reach for the stars. God bless you, ma'am. Thank you also to Ms. Aruma Ote. I'm so glad that you shared with us about your principles of success. And from the comments in the comments section, I can see that all of us are going to run with these comments that we've, with these principles that you've shared with us. I also especially want to thank Lamia, who told us especially how important it is to keep working on yourself. Thank you so much, ma'am. God bless you. Now, thank you, Dionne. You've done such an excellent job tonight moderating this session. Thank you also, Hyde, for the excellent hosting as well. We're so very proud of you. I feel really like we're all just standing a little bit taller tonight by all the things and all the inspiring words that we've learned from all the speakers today. Thank you all so much. Finally, I want to thank our guests and attendees for making out time to be with us tonight. We've been on since 6 o'clock, and I see that our participants are still going strong with us. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It really means a lot to us that after putting all the work that's gone into putting this together, that you all, found it, worthy to actually spend time with us as well. It's been a fantastic session. I want to thank everyone who has also worked behind the scenes as well in putting this together. It's been a lot of work, but we're so grateful that everything has all come together tonight. And then finally, I want to thank our dearly beloved TFS. I want to wish you a very happy birthday. I just want to thank you for your commitment to empowering the next generation of women leaders. And I want to assure you tonight that God being our help, we won't let you down. We won't let all of the ladies tonight that have spoken to us with so much passion and so much candor. God bless you all tonight. Thank you so much. Good night and God bless.
There's, of course, I need to thank my Deputy Governor, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for being with us. All our other special guests, and of course, Dr. Mrs. Awele Elumelu and Pastor Mrs. Helen Oyitso. Thank you so much for the role you played. Wow Connect, our wonderful planner. Thank you for the excellent work you've done, as always. And I know at this point now, it's supposed to be a prayer for me, and then peace will close properly with thanks. And I would like to especially request Dr. Awosika, can you pray for me? I know we didn't ask you about this before, but let's take it that the Spirit is leading us.
Okay. It would be my privilege and an honor to do that. Okay, shall we pray? Our Father and our Lord, we bless you. We give you praise, we give you glory, we give you worship and adoration. We're grateful for what you've done in Toyin's life for 55 years. You were there from the very beginning before she was born. You've been there every minute, every day up to this moment. You've always had a perfect plan for her. And we thank you for the part of the plan we have seen so far. Father, we commit the rest of her life into your hands, knowing fully well that you will perfect all that concerns her. The Bible says that except you build a house, that the laborers build for nothing. Except that you watch over a city, that the watchmen, they stay awake for nothing. We thank you, Father, because we know this house of Toyin's life is built upon you, and you are the builder of it. Therefore, we know that it will be safe, it will be prosperous, it will be established, and it would last to the point of greatness. We thank you because we know her days and her nights are safe in you. We thank you because we know whatever she puts her hands to do, she will prosper in it. We thank you, Lord, because we know wherever the soles of her feet shall touch, we know, Father, you have given to her for her possession. We thank you for her husband and her children. We declare she will never sorrow over our household. Amen. That in going out and coming in, that your presence will always be made manifest. Amen. That your grace will speak for her. Amen. That your favor will go ahead of her. Amen. That the race of 50 years for many shall be a race of 5 hours for her. Amen. That you will go ahead of her and make a way where the world says that there is no way. That every time she opens her mouth, Lord, you will fill it with your word. That she will never be found wanting concerning her children or concerning her husband. That more than anything else, she will finish well. That at the end of her days, it shall be said, see what the Lord her God has done for her. We give you praise. We thank you. We worship you. We especially pray for Emerging Capital Group. We say, Lord, whenever you are the foundation of a house, we are certain that let the wind come, let the storm come, let the rains come. No matter what comes, that house will stand. Today we declare that Emerging Capital shall stand like that house, that no matter what the world presents, it will remain, and it will remain in righteousness and in greatness. Until the end of their days, your name will be established in their success. Thank you, Father, for in Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you for such a powerful prayer, Mrs. Ibukun Awosika. I mean, I don't want to say these next words, but it's come all too soon. We've come to the end of this wonderful masterclass in leadership and a birthday celebration for you, Mrs. F. Toyin Sanni. Now, not many people would be so gracious to turn their personal birthday celebration into a moment of learning and impact for young women all over the world, and a few men as well, I've actually noticed. I'd like to say a huge thank you for allowing us to be part of this celebration with you, for giving us the opportunity to be better, to learn, to aspire for greater heights, and for giving us such a clear demonstration of excellence, which is just a reflection of your true personality.
Good joining the seminar.
I'd like to thank you once again to every single woman that has joined us.
Trust you're well, staying safe. Happy to be
Lamia Merzouki, Mrs. Orumoke, and Dionne Searcey. Thank you so much for guiding us and giving us these nuggets of wisdom that will impact every single one of our lives moving forward. I'd also like to say a special thank you to our special guests, Her Excellency, Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Noimoit Salako Oyedele, Mrs. Vivian Elumelu, and Pastor Mrs. Helen Oyetson. Thank you so much for your kind reflections on what a remarkable woman Mrs. Toyin F. Sanni is. I would also like to say a special appreciation to our event chair, Chief Mrs. Nike Akande, CON, and Miss Ada Ejara. And then finally, to every one of our audiences that have tuned in from all over the world, who were able to join us for this life-changing event and evening. Thank you. We've enjoyed your company, we've enjoyed your wisdom, and God bless each and every one of you. And I wish you an amazing evening and an amazing birthday, Mrs. Toyin Sanni. I will be coming for my cake. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toyi. Thank you, everyone. It's great to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Enjoy the
evening,
rest of
Toyi.
your day.
Bye, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Happy
Thank you,
birthday
Toyin. Again, happy birthday.
Bye-bye.
Happy birthday.
Bye. Thank you, Chief Mrs. Akande. Thank you, Aruma. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. God bless you.